Intercession for Souls in the Beyond, Part 2. BD number 8616. September 14, 1963. Reply to the doctrine that only qualified, praying men are entitled to pray for souls. I will only ever explain the gospel of love to you, because you will achieve your task in earthly life when you accept this gospel, when you fulfill the commandments of love for God and your fellow human beings. Hence you need only ever ask yourselves whether your thoughts, words, and conduct correspond to my commandments of love. But only the love which is kindled deep within your heart will be required, for I cannot be satisfied with mere words and gestures. And thus all labors of love have to be done unselfishly, since the expectation of reward diminishes love, and then the deeds will merely be valued by worldly standards. The innermost feeling of wanting to help and to bring happiness will always be decisive. When I ask you to live a life of love, I mean selfless, giving love, as only this will result in your maturity. But this pure, divine, selfless love unites you with me, and whatever you ask of me in this love for your neighbor will be given to him, be it an easing of earthly hardship or the conveyance of spiritual values. Your love for your neighbor will always accomplish it. Prayers without love, which are spoken by the mouth but do not arise from the bottom of your heart, might just as well not have been spoken, for they do not reach my ear and therefore cannot be answered either. But since the actual purpose of earthly life is to do works of love, I will not stop preaching love either. I will only ever assign the laborers in my vineyard to spread the gospel of love, to appeal to every human heart and stimulate it into selfless activities of love. That I will never prevent a person from doing a kind deed goes without saying. It only matters that he is lively and prompted by love, because I ignore formalities since they are worthless for a person's soul. Thus I myself shall assess the human being's will, and only I know whether or not his heart is involved in everything he thinks, says, or does. You humans should only ever preach love, but you may never prevent people from doing kind deeds, which also include the prayer for the deceased. For do you know the degree of maturity of those who pray? And do you not cause doubts in people you caution about such prayers? Do you believe that they can judge for themselves whether their prayers are heard by me? Do you also want to stop those from praying who are worried about their deceased and would like to help them, or they would not be praying in the first place? You will cast doubts into their hearts, because a humble person is not convinced of his maturity, and only that should qualify him to pray for those souls. And who can claim to have such a profound basis of faith that only his prayers are valuable? Judging a prayer's value should be left to me alone, because I even value every soul's will to help, and truly, I will shield every praying person from my adversary's power. Only empty-lip prayers are worthless, but such praying men are still subject to my adversary's power, or their faith would be alive and their prayer would come from their hearts. Thus you should not warn against prayers for the deceased, because it is not true that a praying person becomes subject to my adversary due to his prayer. A prayer cannot simply be answered by me if it is merely voiced by the mouth. And such prayers will truly not save the souls from the adversary. These praying people need not fear his revenge because they do not take any souls from him. Let me tell you that I only want to correct your thinking which became misguided, because you did not get such teaching material from me, as it contradicts the truth which I send to earth for a light to shine in the darkness which was spread across humanity by my opponent. Wherever a spark of love is kindled, the human being draws nearer to me, and only such a spark of love will prompt a human being to pray for souls in the beyond. And a person like that is not without faith, or he would deny all continuation of life after death and never forward a prayer for the souls. Amen.